So, if you are watching this, you've been asking about our QuickBooks Desktop connection. So, this video is going to be a summary of how it works now. It does work, but there's some major limitations because of the way Intuit built the tool that we're using, and I'll explain what's coming up next and how it's going to work in the future. So, you search for QuickBooks Desktop, and then this is going to ask you for two pieces of information. The first one is just what's the name of the company. So I will call this test. Let's call it, what is it, Rock Castle. So we're going to use the test company that QuickBooks Desktop gives you. And so I'm going to go into my file tree here. I'm going to find it. So here's our sample product-based business. I'm going to go copy as path, and then I'm just going to paste this in here. So that's all you need to do to set up the integration on the Amalgam side. So we'll hit connect. It's going to say integration created successfully, but we need to use the downloaded file. So if you saw an old version of this, you know that this worked a lot worse before, and you had to do a whole bunch of painful shenanigans. You don't anymore. You just need to click on this file, but a few things to be aware of. We're using two important pieces here. The first is obviously QuickBooks Desktop. You need to have the file for the company you're connected to open when you first set this up. I don't know why this is a restriction because there should be no limitation, but we are using this little tool here called the QuickBooks Web Connector. And this is where a lot of the limitations lie. It's, to say the least, a slightly buggy piece of software. So if you set this up with too many different connections, it's going to start running slowly. It's going to start giving you issues. So no doubt you're going to run into some problems. Please let us know if those are happening. We want to know about them, but ultimately our workaround is going to be we're going to have to write our own little Windows client that you're going to download, and it'll be able to do all of this much faster without slowing down your machine. So if you're running this on a Right Networks or a Citrix or something, and this thing keeps freezing, it may just be a limitation with Intuit's tool, and so we're working on a workaround for that. Obviously, we can't really control the way that Intuit works. So in order to make sure that this works, I'm going to actually open up the correct QuickBooks file right now. You can't see it because it's happening on a different screen, but it should be pulling up. Of course, now it's pulling up as a secondary window, which is not what we want. We want it as the primary window. So you're going to have to watch me struggle with QuickBooks at the moment. I'm just going to exit. Yes. Okay, so this is now secondary. I've got all sorts of other windows opening up on my computer. Okay, so this is now open as our primary file. So this should work for us. So I'm going to go back to, where is my Chrome window? Go to my download button, and I'm going to click this. So the application support URL could not be reached. Again, this is another quirk of QuickBooks. If you actually go to this address, you will see that it certainly can be reached. But at any rate, you just need to click yes, which is nicely half hidden. Something that looks like this is going to pop up. This is the same thing as if you were using QuickBooks Online. You just say yes, it's okay for it to have permission. I'm going to say yes, allow access even when my QuickBooks isn't running. What this will actually do is, so long as you've got this little applet running, you'll be able to access data from any QuickBooks company, even if you have QuickBooks itself closed. The only limitation is that if you have one file open, you won't be able to run reports for other files. You don't need to click social security number stuff. We don't really need that, but maybe someday we'll be creating some sort of 1099 tool, so who knows. may be useful to click this for now. It will say access permission, you click confirm, and then you'll see right here, Amalgam, parentheses, Rock Castle Construction. And that will just be the name of whichever company you've given it access to. And so this little box will be checked that says auto run. And so unless this has frozen my computer, which, let's be honest, it might have, this should run a refresh in just a moment. And that's the sync that keeps us current between this machine and QuickBooks Desktop. So I will give it another moment, but if it doesn't, then we may be forced to admit that this has just frozen on us. And again, this is just because this little web connector tool, which is basically a system for keeping QuickBooks and our app synced, is just a little buggy. We're writing our own version of it. It seems like there's not much we can do to get around the limitations, especially because this is something that's going to be running in whatever environment your QuickBooks Desktop files are stored. So we don't want to screw that environment up by making you run a buggy piece of Intuit software. So I don't see this refreshing, but let me click here. Okay, so if you click and unclick it, maybe that will get around it. And so this is just going to be the password that you have for whichever QuickBooks company you set up. So I'll go, oh, my fault. I said that wrong. This is your Amalgam password. So I'm going to have to actually go into my password manager here. Amalgam, I will copy this, paste it here, and click OK. Say, yes, please save this password. And so, fingers crossed, this will run a sync in about 15-20 seconds. It's going to basically log into your Amalgam account and sync any data that's been requested. So yeah, that's nice and green. Okay, I'm pleasantly surprised at how well this is working so far. So we're going to hide this, and we're going to open up a new Excel file. So I will take this off the screen. Let's go to new. And open up Amalgam. Go to Reports, QuickBooks Desktop. Fairly limited reporting at this point, but let's do a profit and loss report. You'll see the Rock Castle Construction integration that we've just created, and this is going to sync for us. Now, what will be happening is, in the background, we've got our little, oops, always asking for something new. Come on, QuickBooks, just one more step here. You can do it. Here we go. So this is our app that's going to actually be running the sync. And then here is our report. So we'll hit Run Report. This app is going to realize, hey, look, we've asked it for some data. It's going to send that data back. Okay. And then when this next checks for the update, there we go. Wow, one shot. I wasn't expecting that. So as you can see, it's a little bit buggy. It's a little bit messy. It will help you get the data where you want it, but there are some serious limitations. So we're working on finding a workaround for that. I don't think this is probably, as it currently stands, the solution that's going to solve your problems for 15 to 100 companies simultaneously, but it'll help you poke around with what we can do today. And you may find it more useful than doing it directly. You may find it less useful, but it's certainly a step in the direction of us having much more dynamic and much more on-demand reporting for you. So thanks for watching a 10-minute video about something that only partially works. We'd love your feedback. Please send it our way when you have it.